Hello, welcome. This is Module 4B. It's going to be our introduction to SPSS in quantitative research methods. It can be a short little introduction, and what we're going to do is take a look at what SPSS looks like when you open a blank data file to see what all the options are. We'll look at the different views of how you can look at variables or how you can look at the data file. I'll show you how you can actually create a code book, which we talked about in terms of documenting the processes and data preparation and instrumentation. And we can take a look at the data files that you'll be using in order to run descriptive statistics and the inferential statistics later on. So I'm going to close out of the PowerPoint and go ahead and open SPSS. I'm using a Mac computer, so the way that you open your SPSS might be slightly different. I'm going to go ahead and open SPSS, and fortunately I believe we are all using the latest version of SPSS, which is version 19. And IBM owns SPSS now, which is a new development actually. So here we go. SPSS is opening. It's a very large file, and so it takes a few minutes to get started. I'm showing you the absolute maximum of the screen that I can so that you can see all the menu bar choices across the top. So this is what it looks like when you open SPSS. You basically get the option to open a blank data file. So you can see here on the right hand side the option to type in your own data looking at a blank data file. Or you also have the choice of opening an existing SPSS file right here in this drop down area, open an existing data source. So for the time being, let's just look at a blank data file, type in data. Okay, so you can see that it looks like any other spreadsheet. And you can see up here the different menu choices along the menu bar at the very top. But it looks like any other spreadsheet, a grid. And what I want to show you is down here you'll see this is the data view. This choice is the data view, and we'll look at the variable view in a moment. But I wanted to show you this data view. And essentially what you do is just like an Excel file. If you work with Excel spreadsheets, you have the cases are in the rows. So let's say we're doing something related to student educational research. Each student number 1, student number 2, student number 3, the cases are in the rows, whereas the value of the variables are in the columns. Menu bar includes words like data, transform, analyze, graphs. These are the different data analysis tools that we will be using. Let's very quickly take a look at variable view, and you'll see what that looks like. Essentially, the variables will be in the rows in this view, and each of these columns provides information about that variable. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a data file, one that we will be using. Sorry, this might take a second. And here's the one we're going to open up this time, Compass Scores Grades. Open. Okay, this this file that just popped up behind our data file is the output. And whenever you have SPSS running, you will have both of these windows open, the output window and the data file window. So let me move this output file to the side so that we can look at the data file. So I'm going to go back to data view because I wanted to show you what that looks like. So here is the data view, just like any other spreadsheet. You can see the different cases, case number in each of the rows with all of their information, and the variables are in the columns. Case number, what term they were in, what their ethnicity is. Here's a place where I've recoded ethnicity, and I'll show you what I mean by that to create another variable. Gender, ACT reading score, ACT English score, ACT math score, high school GPA, all these different numbers for each student, college GPA, Compass writing score, Compass reading score, Compass math score, and then grades in certain classes, grade in Math 23, and so on. There's a few English, grades in English classes, English 99, English 111. This is a combined Compass score field that I created, and this is a recode of Compass writing and Compass reading. These are ranges. You can see this thing I just clicked on up here shows you the value labels for the variables, and I'll show you what that means in a second. I've also recoded some of the grades into a, let's take a look at that, 0 and 1 to stand for a 0 grade point average in the class to a 1.5, meaning not successful, and another one 2.0 to 4.0, meaning successful. That's how I'm defining that. And then created another variable called orientation. I did attend orientation, I did not attend orientation. And those are just coded 1s and 0s. And every time I'm getting that toggle, I'm clicking on this coding to value label button up here in the menu bar, if you can see where the mouse is moving. Okay, let's look at this same data file in variable view. So I just go down, click on variable view, so I can see all my variables and see exactly what they are. And these work just like kind of an Excel file. I can make the columns a little bit bigger. So in the variable view, we have essentially the makings of a code book. Gives you a lot of information about each variable. And let's go through these columns. In the first column, we have the variable name. And it makes a lot of sense to keep variable names as short as possible. And you'll see why later. But it makes sense to keep them as short as possible, even if, but you still know what they are. Variable type shows you whether or not the variable is numeric. Is it a number? You can, to see the different variable types, you can click in that cell and then click on this box right here with the 3 dots in it and see what the variable type options are. So this is where you tell SPSS exactly what kind of data that you have. I have numeric data. It has so many decimal places or not. You can tell it that that variable is a date like if you have birth date, you'll have date formatting, and that shows you the date formatting, dollar formatting or currency formatting, and string variables. You can also use string variables in SPSS, and it asks you how many characters it is. Typically, we use numeric and string and date. I think it was numeric. This ends this part of the module's presentation. Please move on to review the next part